The Winnipeg Westmen, led by coach Tom Kendall, ruled Canadian women's basketball for 3 years. Led by the unstoppable Sandra Carroll, the Westmen went on an incredible 88-game winning streak that tied a North American record. Along the way, Winnipeg won 3 national titles. But now there's a changing of the guard in women's basketball. No longer content to play the bridesmaid, Coach Colleen Dufresne has brought her team back to the final. Led by fourth-year point guard T.L. Johannesson, they say that this is their year to claim the CIAU's top prize. But first, they'll have to beat the University of Toronto. The Varsity Blues have an agenda of their own. Led by CIAU Player of the Year Justine Ellison, Coach Michelle Belanger says her team wanted to meet Manitoba in the final, and now the Blues have their chance. The University of Toronto Varsity Blues and the Manitoba Bisons. The women's final is next.
Now, in our second decade of university sports coverage, TSN proudly presents CIAU Basketball.
Today, live on TSN, it's the #1 ranked University of Toronto Varsity Blues taking on the #2 ranked Manitoba Bisons. Welcome to Quebec City, everyone. I'm Teresa Herbert. Today's final is what every CIAU player has worked toward all year. The top 8 teams from across the country met here at the University of Laval. By Saturday night, we were down to the final 4. Here's a look at how the road to the final came about. Manitoba beat Dalhousie in the quarters, then after a slow start in their semifinal, finally pulled it out to beat the Western Mustangs. The University of Toronto beat Laval in the quarters, then after a very tough semi against McGill, finally pulled out the win in the dying seconds of the game. Michelle Belanger was the coach of the last University of Toronto team to win the national title. She says that she's got her gold medal in her briefcase and is not afraid to pull it out today if she feels that her team needs a little bit of motivation. Manitoba, on the other hand, says they don't need any motivation at all because they are here to avenge last year's loss to their crosstown rivals, the Winnipeg Westmen. So to call today's action, here is Gord Miller and color commentator Kathy Shields.
Thanks very much, Teresa. Delighted to welcome the coach of the University of Victoria and the former coach of our national women's team, Kathy Shields. Kathy, the first thing I noticed is that neither of these teams is on an 8 zillion game winning streak like Calgary and the University of Winnipeg went on earlier in this decade. But what we have here are the #1 and #2 ranked teams in the nation. First of all, the #1 ranked University of Toronto Varsity Blues, led by the CIAU's Player of the Year.
Well, Justine Ellison is just a great player. Nancop Award winner, which is given to the Outstanding Player of the Year. She can score inside, she can take it outside and score, she can take it to the hoop. It's very difficult to contain.
Now, the University of Manitoba has an all-Canadian of its own, T.L. Johannesson, a different kind of player, though.
Very much so. T.L. is a guard, very quick, very great ability to penetrate, can pull up for the jump shot, will be a great challenge for Toronto.
So when you got the #1 and #2 teams in the nation, you're obviously talking about teams that know how to win. Both these teams have been beaten in the last couple of years in the national women's title game. What do you expect today?
Well, I think both teams are going to be trying to play their style of game, which are very different. Manitoba wants a pressing, running game. U of T wants to slow it down and pound it inside to their outstanding player, Tina.
And we can't wait to see it. March, the month of champions, continues on TSN. When we come back, we'll set the starting lineups for you and have the opening tip from the University of Laval.
5 days a year.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. In just minutes a day, your thighs can look like
2 big mouth-watering patties in a rich
hypoallergenic base that makes your skin feel like
toupee in a can. Gets rid of bald spots. In fact, it looks just like
fabulous fake fur. Fantastic for my rump roast. Now easier to handle with a roast wrangler.
Life can be heavy. Keep it light. Clear your mind with a clearly great new taste. Check out new 7-Up Light.
The CIAU Women's Basketball National Final, brought to you by Chevrolet. Tried, tested, and true.
Welcome back to the University of Laval, getting set for the CIAU Women's Basketball Championship game for 1996, and getting set for the introductions now of the starting lineups. First of all, for the University of Toronto Varsity Blues in her 5th year out of Dundas, Ontario, the CIAU's Player of the Year, Justine Ellison. Her opposite number for the University of Manitoba is 22-year-old Stacey Ewell. She is also the only senior on her team. Number 10, 21-year-old Elizabeth Hart from Brantford, Ontario, led her team with 22 points over McGill in the semifinal win yesterday. An all-tournament player here last year, Vicky Neufeld, is a 4th-year player from Winkler, Manitoba. Kate Brancourt is a 4th-year art student out of Etobicoke, Ontario, 22 years old, a forward. 19-year-old Marjorie Kelly is a 2nd-year art student from Winnipeg. A 4th-year art student from Owen Sound, Ontario, 22-year-old Laurel Johnson, who is also a member of Canada's National Junior Program. The CIAU's all-rookie player from GPAC, 19-year-old Ann Smith, is a native of Laval, Quebec, and playing basically in her own backyard. And rounding out the starting lineup for the Toronto Varsity Blues, number 15, Yvonne Sapinski, 23 years old, a 4th-year science major out of the University of Toronto. For Manitoba, it's T.L. Johannesson, 23 years old, a 4th-year art student, an all-Canadian who was all-tournament here 1 year ago. The coach of the Varsity Blues in her 17th year is Michelle Boulanger. She won the CIAU's national championship with Toronto back in 1986. The coach of the Manitoba Bisons, Colleen Dufresne, won the CIAU championship back in 1988 and played for Canada in the 1976 Olympics in Montreal. She is a native of that city. So once again, to set the lineups for you, Ellison, Brancart, and Johnson in the front court for the Toronto Varsity Blues. In the back court, Hart and Spachinski. For the Manitoba Bisons, Kelly, Neufeld, and Smith. Then look out in the back court for the player that Kathy Shields talked about, T.L. Johannesson, the All-Canadian, who was the Great Plains Athletic Conference MVP this year. Reg Caulfield of Halifax is one of our officials. Janice Deacon of Kingston, Ontario is the other. And we're set now for the final game of the 1996 CIAU women's season. Kathy?
Well, I think it's going to be an outstanding game. Both teams will probably be a little bit nervous at the start, but they'll settle down quickly.
Yeah, exactly. We'll watch for early nerves from both sides. Spachinski now with it, number 15 for Ellison. Justine Ellison, number 9, is the player to watch for Toronto. She sets the screen inside. Spachinski with the open shot makes the first. And Toronto with the early lead, always nice to make the first one.
Wow, that really helps settle the nerves down when you hit those early shots.
First trip now for the Manitoba Bisons, wearing their home white uniforms. This is Ann Smith, number 11, in the corner to Marjorie Kelly. No good, the rebound to Kate Brancart. And now Toronto with a chance to add to the lead. Here's Ellison, double team, lost the ball for a moment. We've got a foul called now. That I believe it will be on Marjorie Kelly, number 10.
Well, Toronto started out in a 2-3 zone and were able to stop Manitoba early there, but now we've got Tina on the line, so that's a good way to start for Toronto.
Liz Hart, number 10 with it. Trying to work the give and go. Now they kick it back to Laurel Johnson. Inside once again for Justine Ellison, off the glass and good. And right away we see the effect that Justine Ellison can have. She draws the double team on the foul and then makes the ensuing basket.
Well, Toronto is in their high post offense, and it's designed to get the ball inside to Tina, and they were effective that time down.
Now the steal. Here's Liz Hart underneath for Ellison again. She has a quick 4, and Toronto has a 6-0 lead. We talked about nerves being a factor. How soon do you think Colleen Dufresne might look to a timeout here to try to settle her team down a bit?
Well, she hopes that the team can settle down on their own. They have a limited number of timeouts, and I think they just got to relax a little bit and hopefully, get into their game.
Early 6-point lead for Toronto. TL Johannessen's first drive to the basket is no good, and back comes Toronto with a chance to add to the lead. Here again is Ellison from outside, and good.
Well, Manitoba's picked up Toronto man-to-man, which is a bit of a surprise. A lot of people thought they'd start in a zone.
Justine Ellison with another 2. She scored the last 6, and it's 8-0 Varsity Blues. Here's Johannessen, 38 points in the last 2 games for the Manitoba point guard. She's been a big part of 2 easy wins relatively for Manitoba in the tournament.
Well, they've got to find a way to penetrate that zone.
Stacey Ewell with the miss there, and now Kate Brancart again with the rebound. And Toronto with a chance to go to double digits here. They put it up quickly, no good, as Laurel Johnson misses, but now on the follow, and it's Toronto with a 10-0 lead.
Well, they got to stop the bleeding soon, Manitoba. They don't want to let Toronto get too far ahead here.
Elizabeth Hart with that last rebound in the basket for Toronto. And a nightmare start here for Manitoba, but now Yvonne Spaczynski hits.
That's right.
And finally, the Bisons are on the board, trailing 10-2. Check, that was Johannesson hitting for Manitoba. TL Johannesson, the All-Canadian.
Well, Manitoba's answered back with some pressure of their own. They had to score to be able to put the press on, and that was the problem at the start.
Now we'll see if they can control Ellison, who's working underneath. She sets the screen. Laurel Johnson loses it. And back comes Johannesson for Manitoba. Johannesson underneath, off the glass, and good. So the 2 All-Canadians are dominating here in the early going.
Well, that's the way you like to see it in a big game. You want your top players coming to play and making sure that they play up to their normal standard.
Full court pressure there by Manitoba now, trying to force another turnover from Toronto. Laurel Johnson back outside to Spaczynski with the first basket of the game. There have been quite a few since. Ellison blocked inside by Vicky Neufeld. And Toronto gets it back.
That's going to be a key matchup. Neufeld is a very athletic player. She can give Tina some problems today.
Laurel Johnson with the drive underneath, but the foul is called, and it is the second team foul to Manitoba.
We've got Laurel on the line. She's a pretty good foul shooter. It was a big key for Toronto last night down the stretch in their semifinal game, was hitting their foul shots.
The freshman Ann Smith with the foul. She checks out of the basketball game now, and coming in is number 9, Kyla Koski for Manitoba. Laurel Johnson at the line, fouled in the act of shooting.
Toronto's been able to go inside early, and that's something that Manitoba's got to try and shut down.
Laurel Johnson makes them both, and she knows a thing or two about playing for the Varsity Blues. Her sister Kim played 5 years for the Blues and graduated last season.
That's right, she was an outstanding guard.
Now from the corner, Marjorie Kelly with the miss, and once again a big rebound inside by Laurel Johnson. That's one area Toronto expected to have an advantage, enjoying a height differential over Manitoba.
That's right, they have to control the boards. That's very important.
Liz Hart, now the bounce pass underneath, and Justine Ellison, virtually unchallenged, strikes once again. She now has 8.
U of T is able to go inside with their high post offense very well. Manitoba's really got to find an answer for that before it gets out of hand.
Now Marjorie Kelly, back out top to Stacey Ewell. Johannesson from the corner, off the iron and no good, but the rebound goes back to Stacey Ewell. Johannesson now. Here's Kelly.
Trying to find a way to attack that zone. Got it to TL, that's a good way.
Johannesson, but that shot is short, and another rebound there to Kate Brancart. And back come the Varsity Blues. Here is Justine Ellison. Ellison triple teamed that time, tried to make the pass, but it's knocked away. Kelly now for Ewell, bounce pass to Johannesson, off the glass, and good. Well, Manitoba clawing back, Kathy.
They are, and you know, a big part of their game is creating turnovers, and that gets their running game going.
Justine Ellison with the miss, and look at him go right back up the floor to Marjorie Kelly, who kicks it outside for Johannesson, and she's got the easy one off the glass, and now a lead that was 10-0 is cut to 14-8.
Well, both Manitoba's been able to get their pressure going, and another turnover.
Yeah, the full court pressure there forces another Toronto turnover. Timeout on the floor, an early start and a quick start to this game. 14-8, Toronto lead.
Winter got you a little unhinged? Then get in on Swiss Chalet's Real Early Summer Half Side Rib Special. Meaty and tender summer barbecue side ribs, picnic-style coleslaw, your favorite side dish, and a ski-rumptious slice of garlic bread. All at the sizzling summer price of just $6.75. Swiss Chalet's Half Side Rib Special. Hey, we're into it.
All right, Teresa, we'll get back to you in a moment. We're having microphone difficulties down in the corner, and so we can tell you that it's 14-8 in favor of the Toronto Varsity Blues with a timeout. Kathy, I'm intrigued what you'd tell your team if you were the University of Manitoba right now. You got off to a nightmare start. You're down 10-0 early.
Right. Well, I mean, what they've got to do is just relax a little bit. They've got to keep playing the pressure defense that's gotten them back into the game, creating the turnovers at the Toronto end, and that's allowed them to come down and get some easy scores.
How much of a factor is being on national television?
Well, it is a factor. I mean, it's nerve-wracking a little bit, but you know, in about another couple minutes, they'll forget all about it. Just play.
Manitoba down by 6 in the first half of this game. This is Marjorie Kelly, number 10. T.L. Johannesson tries to kick it back out for Stacey Ewell, and Ewell decides she'll reset the offense. A bounce pass for Vicky Neufeld. Vicky Neufeld with the move, but one extra step traveling.
They're struggling against Toronto's zone. Toronto's got a big zone, and Manitoba, very athletic, need to penetrate to create scores, and they're having problems that way. They have to get the ball inside.
And patience, Kathy, may be trouble for a running team that tends to like to run and gun. And right from the corner, Laurel Johnson hits again, and the Toronto lead is back to 8.
Laurel's really stepped up her game today, and that's going to be very important for the Toronto Blues.
Freshman Ann Smith, number 11, back into the game for Manitoba, the only freshman in the starting lineup for either team.
Well, she's a great young player. She's had some experience playing in the CEGEP, and she's really been a key player for them this year.
Second traveling call that goes against Manitoba early in this first half.
Okay, they're back in their high post set. Almost another turnover.
And Smith with the touch. Referee Reg Caulfield says it was touched on the way out. Manitoba ball, and Michelle Belanger didn't like that call one bit. Now Vicky Neufeld underneath, and Neufeld is fouled as she shoots, and Manitoba will go to the line.
What a great athlete Vicky Neufeld is. That was a very difficult catch. She went way up on that one.
And the foul is on Justine Ellison, her first, and the team's first as well.
One of the players that hasn't gotten unleashed for the University of Manitoba as yet is Marjorie Kelly. And everybody expected that Marjorie would play a big factor in this game. So we're waiting to see if Manitoba gets Marjorie going.
Vicky Neufeld, a 68% free throw shooter, through the regular season. Misses both of those, and the lead remains 8. And underneath, Liz Hart loses control of the ball for a moment, but the Varsity Blues will get it back. And we've got our first substitution for Toronto. Coming into the game is number 8, Rachel Deamois, and checking out of the game is Kate Brancourt.
Rachel did a tremendous job last night in the semis down the stretch. She was the difference. She hit a couple of key hoops and got some great baskets. Got a stretch for them.
She had 10 points down the stretch, but that time she walked, and it's Manitoba ball. Now the game kind of settles into the back and forth we expected. They got the early nerves out of the way, and they got the early run and gun out of the way.
That's right. Now they'll play basketball.
Johannesson controlling the offense. This is Neufeld from the corner, and good.
Neufeld is a very versatile athlete. She's got a great vertical leap, but she can also hit the outside shot.
And she too was all tournament at the CIAU Women's Championship last year. Great save there by Liz Hart for Toronto. And this is Deamois, number 8, working it down in the corner. Spaczynski now for Liz Hart. And Hart spots a cutting Justine Ellison underneath, and Ellison has all day to make that shot. which she does easily.
She does, and Manitoba's still in man-to-man, and they have to just do a little bit better job. They've got a backdoor move there for Tina, and that's an easy shot for Tina to make.
And that time, bring it right back up the floor was T.L. Johannesson, but she lost control of it.
Manitoba's in a man-to-man full court press now.
Ellison with the bounce pass underneath. It gets away from Laurel Johnson. Back comes Manitoba, 2-on-2. This is Johannesson with a great move in the air, and she's fouled as she goes up.
Well, it's difficult when TL wants to go to the basket. Very difficult to stop her.
Liz Hart with the foul, her first, and the team's second. And T.L. Johannesson goes to the line for the Manitoba Bisons. And makes the first.
Now, TL played on our student national team last summer. Outstanding young guard. Great future, I think, in the national team program.
And was a member of Canada's World Student Team, as you mentioned. She led a team that shot 82% from the line in conference play. Manitoba howling for a walk there as it looked like Yvonne Spachinski took an extra step. Now Spachinski gets it back to an open Laurel Johnson. The shot no good. Liz Hart battles for the rebound and comes away with it. She almost had to battle her coach Michelle Belanger for it. And Laurel Johnson with the miss. Long lead pass from Marjorie Kelly. She goes in and Kelly misses the layup.
Oh, that's unusual. Marjorie's usually a sure thing on close-in shots, especially layups.
Laurel Johnson pulls up, now thinks better of shooting.
One of the things Manitoba has to try to do if they stay man-to-man is really deny the ball into the high post. Tina's in the high post right now, and it's just coming in way too easily.
And a loose ball on the floor, a timeout as well. 11:21 to play in the first half. Toronto leads by 7.
Hey, pocket lovers! Introducing new McCain Deli Lovers Pizza Pockets to set you on your jets. Let's go, pocket lovers! McCain made them just for you. They made them with their best, so they taste the cut above the rest. Seasoned beef, salami, 2 pepperonis, Canadian bacon, and more in a crust that's baked, not fried, so there's no leaks, no mess. McCain Deli Lovers Pizza Pockets! The new taste to set you on your jets.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm standing by with the father of the CIAU Player of the Year, Justine Ellison. This is John Ellison. John, you said that Justine picked up her first basketball when she's 5. What a career she's had.
Well, she's had a great career, and I'll tell you, as a father, it's the most rewarding gift that a daughter or a son can give a parent to have accomplished what she's accomplished.
Well, I'll tell you, success sure runs in this family. John Ellison is a successful songwriter and a singer. He wrote a song back in the 70s that was popularized by the Grand Trunk Railroad. I bet you'll know it. And it truly says everything what Justine Ellison is all about. Okay, Dad, hit it.
Yeah, well, this is for Justine Ellison. She's some kind of wonderful, yes, she is. And the team, some kind of wonderful. Talking about the varsity blues, they're some kind of wonderful.
Thank you so much, John.
Hey, I'm beat. I can't top that. I'm sorry. Justine Ellison there with the save, just as Dad finished singing.
Pretty talented family.
Here's Spachinski now, back into the corner to Liz Hart, working one-on-one and makes the 3. The first 3-point basket made in the basketball game. 21-11 now. The Toronto lead is once again 10, equaling the largest lead the Varsity Blues have enjoyed.
Yeah, and that allows Toronto to again pick up in a 2-2-1 containing press, and they really want to try and slow the game down and slow TL down.
First shot tried there by Ann Smith, and the freshman has ice water in her veins as she makes her first try.
Well, she made our all-rookie team. She's just a great one.
Damois now kicks it back over, and this is Liz Hart, number 10. And the shot won't go for Kate Brancard, but the rebound underneath picked up by Spachinski. Now from the corner, Liz Hart again, and in and out. But again, the rebound goes to Toronto. Damois with it. For Ellison, trying to work underneath. Ann Smith reached in, and maybe that's the one way to stop her, is to just tackle her like a football player, which is what Ann Smith tried there.
Well, Manitoba's trying very hard not to allow this penetration. You see Tina's able to get through the zone, and they're forced to foul.
And Smith picks up her second foul of the game. Again from the corner, Hart lets it fly, and that time off the top of the glass and no good.
Yeah, I think we've seen the two teams come out much like we thought they would. Toronto's been able to go inside. Manitoba's been able to get their running game going.
Here's Smith again, open and good. 19-year-old Ann Smith playing in her hometown of Laval, Quebec, but playing for the University of Manitoba. She has 4.
Okay, Manitoba's in a 1-2-1-1 full court press right now.
That looked like a 3-on-1 full court press is what that looked
right.
like.
Yeah, they're getting good pressure on the ball, and that's going to give Toronto some problems if they can't solve it.
Laurel Johnson checks back into the game for Toronto, and Rachel Deamois checks out. How long can you play this kind of pressure, though? It's pretty tough on a basketball team to play full court pressure like that.
Well, Manitoba's used to it, and they've played this way all year. They've played this way for a couple of years, and they've got the talent, they've got the athletes.
Wide open in the corner is Laurel Johnson, who puts it up and good.
Laurel's having an outstanding half. She's shooting the ball outside, and she's getting the ball inside to Tina.
Laurel Johnson now with 6. Underneath, Marjorie Kelly is rejected, and as Yvonne Spaczynski tried to break away with it, she is fouled. Stacey Ewell on the block. That is team foul number 4 on the Manitoba Bisons. And you shoot on the 8.
Yeah, they're in good shape. If they can stay out of bonus, they'll be fine.
Ellison, and if they can find a way to stop Justine Ellison. Ellison now with 12, and Toronto with a 10-point lead for the 3rd time in this first half.
Yeah, they really have to find a solution to that. They're letting Tina get the ball inside way too easily.
Stacey Ewell now setting it up way at the top of the arc.
Toronto back in the 2-3 zone.
And Kelly can't find the range early on, and right away the rebound goes back to Toronto's Yvonne Spaczynski. And Spaczynski with a long lead pass for Ellison, but she was double covered. And back comes Manitoba. Here's Stacey Ewell, number 4. Double teamed in the corner. She goes underneath for Neufeld, and the shot is good. And the foul as well.
Well, Vicky, like I said before, Vicky's got a great vertical leap, and she just muscled that up. Here we see Vicky Neufeld getting the ball inside. She goes straight up and finds a way to get the ball in the basket.
Neufeld misses the chance to make the 3-point play, but Manitoba able to rebound.
Great rebound. Offensive rebounds often are the difference. Team that can get the offensive boards has a great advantage.
Here's Smith open again. The high arcing shot falls short. Smith gets her own rebound underneath and is blocked by Laurel Johnson. But once again, Manitoba gets it back.
Yeah, a little bit of a questionable shot to take, but at least Dan went after it hard and got her own rebound.
Vicky Neufeld out in the corner, and open is Johannesson. The high arcing shot, and that is good. 2 for Manitoba, and the Bisons cut the lead to 6. And now again we see that full court trap almost that Manitoba is employing.
That's right, and Toronto is able to get the ball long, but sometimes you end up taking a quick shot like Toronto did.
Laurel Johnson with the miss. This is T.L. Johannesson working on 2. She kicks it out for Kelly. Marjorie Kelly goes down. The shot won't go, and Smith can't get the rebound to fall. But Manitoba finally getting some rebounds now. 7 minutes to play in the first half. And Smith long. And now Toronto comes away with this rebound. Frenetic end-to-end action here, and Toronto with a 6-point lead.
Well, in that instance, Manitoba was able to get them into a full court game, and Toronto's got to get it settled down a little bit.
Here's Ellison, Justine Ellison being very closely watched. Liz Hart on the drive, but she traveled. 6:36 to play in the first half. The Varsity Blues with a 6-point lead.
It's been 2 weeks.
What do you mean?
I mean every day for 2 weeks.
Every day?
Every day.
And it's good?
It's very good.
2 weeks, huh?
Oh, yeah.
What does your wife think?
She thinks it's great. You should try it.
Oh, I'm gonna try it.
Good.
They're talking about Kellogg's All Bran. It's very high in fiber. Make it part of your complete breakfast for 2 weeks and see how you feel about it.
How do you feel about it?
Good.
You feel good.
I knew that I would.
Kellogg's All Bran. Try it for 2 weeks. Love it forever.
We're watching a very exciting women's basketball final, and so is CIU President Liz Hoffman. Liz, you said at Thursday night's award banquet you've got big plans for women's basketball. What are they?
Well, we're really looking to bring this fabulous sport to a new level. We're developing new partnerships with our sponsors, with our sports governing bodies, and also with the NBA. So we're really looking ahead for these exciting athletes.
Well, I also understand that you're moving the finals into semi-permanent sites. For example, the women's basketball final will be played for the next 3 years in Thunder Bay at Lakehead University. What will that do?
Well, that's really going to allow us to move this sport to the next level. As I said, we're going to have the community, the sponsors, and all of the universities behind it. Well, it's a great product.
Thank you so much, Liz. Let's take you back to first half action. Here's Gordon Miller.
Thanks very much, Teresa. That's what it's all about. The bronze baby that is awarded every year to the CIAU women's basketball champion. For the last 3 years, it's gone to the University of Winnipeg. And before that, Kathy Shields' Victoria Vikes won. This year, it's either the Manitoba Bisons or the Toronto Varsity Blues. And it's been mostly Toronto so far. Manitoba, you'd have to say, fortunate to only be down 6. Now a loose ball. And Manitoba with the last touch. Toronto to inbound.
Well, when you look at the two teams' shooting percentages, it really is an indicator of why the score is the way it is. Toronto's been able to shoot 59% already, and Manitoba's been held at 38%.
Toronto shooting 10 points above its season average, Manitoba 10 points below. And there once again is Justine Ellison who makes, and the fifth-year senior is on a major roll now. She's got 14.
And Manitoba's got to find a way to stop Tina from getting those easy high-percentage shots inside.
Yvonne Spaczynski with the foul there, and going to the line for Manitoba is Marjorie Kelly, number 10. The CIAU's Rookie of the Year last year.
Well, Marjorie Kelly's had 2 outstanding seasons, and she's having a bit of a problem getting on track today.
Once again, coming into the game for Toronto is Rachel Deamois, as Liz Hart, number 10, will take a seat. And actually, T.L. Johannesson will shoot for Manitoba. And Johannesson with the miss. As a team, the Bison shot 71% from the free throw line. That's about average.
Good. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's, I mean, in a national championship, any big game, whichever team shoots well from the line is going to be successful.
Manitoba shot 82% from the line in the semifinal win yesterday. Liz Hart spins, and the shot won't go for. The rebound to Vicky Neufeld. Manitoba down by 8. 5.5 minutes to play in the first half. Here's Neufeld underneath, and she gets the shot to go, even though she was well guarded by Stephanie Splitter, the first-year player who has just checked into the game for the Varsity Blues.
Toronto's still in their zone, and that time Vicky was able to get the ball inside.
Ellison has the pass knocked away for a moment, but Liz Hart was able to come up with it for Toronto. Hart being very closely watched. This is Deamois, and she makes it. Rachel Deamois, who had 10 points in the semifinal win coming off the bench yesterday. Now coming the other way, Marjorie Kelly. She is fouled, count the basket. And a chance now for Manitoba to climb within 5.
There you see the great athletic ability of Marjorie Kelly taking the ball to the basket. You see Marjorie taking it against the defense right there, going up tough, great vertical leap, able to finish the shot.
Stephanie Splitter with the foul, her first, and Marjorie Kelly with a chance to complete the three-point play.
That last time down, we saw Manitoba go into a zone defense, and I think that is a way that they're going to try and contain Toronto's inside game.
And Marjorie Kelly unable to convert on the three-point play. The Toronto lead is 6. And once again, Justine Ellison, when required, gets the key points for Toronto.
They were back in man-to-man that time, and again they were able to get the ball in the post.
Marjorie Kelly tries the shot, but she is fouled. Justine Ellison. That is her second.
Okay, here's Marjorie taking the ball to the basket, tough again, and she's very quick, very athletic.
And once again the miss, but that time Ann Smith reaching underneath for the rebound, and she draws another Toronto foul.
Ann just kind of snuck in there on that end out of bounds, and Toronto, I think they fell asleep on that.
Rachel Damois with the foul, and this is one problem area for Manitoba. The Bisons are 1 for 7 from the free throw line thus far in the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's another example. They have to hit their foul shots, not only to climb back into the game, but to win the game.
1 for 8 now after Smith misses the front end.
Gotta be nerves.
1 for 9, and that's the lead. It's an 8-point Toronto advantage.
Amazing.
Liz Hart down into the corner to Kate Brancart. Here's Laurel Johnson back into the game, number 14, off the dribble. And she loses it, trying to get it down to the corner to Hart. Johannesson over the defender, goes off the rim, and then decides to go back in.
What a great pull-up shot.
Manitoba hanging in there, and now with 4:06 to play in the first half, Toronto coach Michelle Boulanger decides to call timeout. Let's go down to the Manitoba huddle and see what Colleen Dufresne has to say to her troops. Well, I heard Colleen say keep pressing and just calm down, so obviously the up-tempo attack will stay for Manitoba.
Definitely. The problem being, though, that they have to score to get into their press, and they have to find a way to get inside the Toronto zone, be able to put their press on.
Interesting the similarities between the two head coaches, Colleen Dufresne and Michelle Boulanger. Both were outstanding players. In fact, Michelle Boulanger won 4 national championships with Laurentian.
Yes, both outstanding players, both played for Canada back in the 70s and are now 2 of our finest coaches in Canada.
One of the numbers that you take a look at from pressure is turnovers. Teams that like to apply pressure want to force a lot of turnovers, and thus far, Manitoba has been able to do some of that. Toronto has turned the ball over 11 times so far, and there's another, make it 12.
And pressure takes its toll over the course of the game. You may not get instant rewards, but over the course of the game, it's going to wear Toronto down if they can't learn how to stop turning the ball over and start taking care of the ball.
Marjorie Kelly for Stacey Ewell, and Ewell with the try underneath. That's tipped on the way out and out of bounds. Underneath, and look out. Laurel Johnson goes for a tough tumble underneath, and she is fouled. And Toronto with a 6-point lead and 3:40 to play. We'll go back to the line.
Yeah, Toronto again, they're creating foul problems for Manitoba because they're getting the ball inside, and that's going to create some problems as the game goes on for Manitoba.
Toronto leads it 31-25. And with 3:40 to play in the opening half, we'll take a break and return to Laval in a moment.
When a puck is flying at you at 90 miles an hour, you've got to stay totally focused. I can't let hunger get in my way, so I grab a Snickers.
Packed with peanuts, milk chocolate, and caramel. Nothing stops your hunger like a Snickers.
Excuse me, coming through.
When your stomach growls, wolf one down.
Welcome back to the University of Laval in Quebec City. The Toronto Varsity Blues in their light blue uniforms taking on the Manitoba Bisons for the CIAU Women's Basketball Championship. Another turnover by the Toronto Varsity Blues, and it is Toronto ball, although Stacey Ewell disputes the call.
Manitoba's picked up their man-to-man a little bit more and did a good job that time. Ball went inside and they were able to double team it.
Justine Ellison, the player of the year in the CIAU, gets a break now on the Toronto bench. Kate Brancard with the long running jumper, able to make that.
Well, Brancard could be the difference here. They played earlier in the year without Brancard and lost to Manitoba.
Vicky Neufeld makes it back for Manitoba. The Bisons beat Toronto twice in December. But as you mentioned, in both those games, Toronto was without Kate Brancard.
Brancard's a great shooter, and that time she took it to the hoop, but she also has a great outside shot, three-point shooter.
Liz Johannesson was TL Johannesson, sorry, fouled on the play, and that's her first foul of the basketball game. 33-27 is the score in favor of Toronto. The Varsity Blues got up to a 10-0 lead in the game.
Manitoba still in man-to-man, a little bit more pressure.
Open is Brancard, but she misses that time, and the rebound goes to TL Johannesson. And the long football-type pass, and that is intercepted and brought back the other way by Spaczynski. Yvonne Spaczynski with the bounce pass, but that's picked up by Stacey Ewell. Ewell underneath for a wide-open Vicky Neufeld, and Neufeld makes for the Bisons. Now down by 4. They're as close as they've been since the opening moments of the game.
Well, you see Manitoba being able to apply their pressure a little bit more. Toronto still having trouble with turnovers.
And that time Liz Hart on the drive. But Hart is fouled. And we've got a timeout call by the Toronto Varsity Blues. 2:23 to play in the first half. And Coach Michelle Belanger has an angry word for the officials on the way by.
Well, I think that was a good timeout. Toronto's got to settle down. They have to try and find a way to handle Manitoba's pressure.
So Michelle Belanger calls her troops in. And let's see if we can listen to what she has to say. I'm not a very good lip reader, but you can tell Michelle's pretty animated.
Well, I would guess that Michelle is, there's been a momentum swing, and Michelle's trying to settle them down, trying to get them organized.
Belanger led the Toronto Varsity Blues to the CIAU title back in 1986. Pauline Dufresne won it in 1988 in Manitoba. But since then, women's basketball has really been dominated by a few schools. Laurentian for a couple of years, Calgary went on the long winning streak, and of course the last 3 titles won by the Winnipeg Westmen. But you were saying that you really feel that things may be as wide open now as they've been in years.
Well, I think this tournament, we've got the number 1 and number 2 teams in the final, which is great. But I think we've seen a lot of parity.
Great pass for TL Johannesson, and Terry Lynn Johannesson gets her team within 2. Not since the first 30 seconds of the game has Manitoba been this close.
And here comes the pressure again.
Justine Ellison is still on the bench. And the shot won't go for Brancard. So Ellison remains on the bench for Toronto, and Manitoba closes to 2. And now Marjorie Kelly finds the range, and the game is tied at 33. Spaczynski in the corner for Laurel Johnson. Johnson with a strong move inside, and Toronto is back in front.
Now Laurel's just holding Toronto in there while Tina's on the bench. She's really stepped up her game.
So Justine Ellison on the bench with 3 fouls for Toronto.
And that's a big problem for Toronto. Some serious foul trouble for Justine. Toronto's got a couple of players off the bench that certainly can help, but they need Tina playing.
Take the player of the year out of anyone's lineup, but I think you'll find that they won't be nearly as effective.
I mean, they're going to try and survive until the half and protect Tina and get her back in the second half.
Liz Hart off the window, gets her own rebound and gets hacked underneath. No, she does not. They call the charge on Liz Hart, And Michelle Belanger can't believe it. Colleen Dufresne now calls timeout.
Oh, there she goes up. Looked like she got a little bit of hack on the arm by one of the Bison players.
Well, she was fighting under there with Kyla Koski. And the foul goes against Hart. So here's the situation for Toronto. Justine Ellison has 16 points, but 3 fouls. The team led by 10 points 3 times, but Manitoba has gamely battled back. T.L. Johannesson has 13 points to lead the Bisons thus far.
Well, it's really important that Toronto just try and stay organized and get into halftime where they can regroup and kind of put down this momentum swing and come out strong in the second half. Manitoba's done a super job coming back.
Well, you talked about 2 veteran coaches here, and certainly that's a factor, but we also talked in the opening about the fact that both these teams have been to the national final in the last 2 years. Manitoba lost last year, Toronto lost 2 years ago.
Yes, and not only experienced teams, experienced coaches. They've been here before, they know how to handle situations like this, great leadership, and both with experienced teams.
There's a couple of guys who might have experienced the great outdoors here in Quebec, but I don't think it's that cold outside. Toronto leads by 2, under a minute to play in the opening half.
Toronto's in a 1-2-2, 3/4 court press.
Johannesson goes up, it won't go. And she was hit on the way up, looked like Yvonne Spaczynski got her. And that is Spaczynski's second.
TL's just such a great player at penetrating. She's got a little shoulder down, is able to go by and draw the foul.
And Johannesson with the miss. She was 77% over the course of the season.
TL's got to hit her foul shots.
Well, she makes that one. Manitoba just 2 for 12 from the line thus far in the game.
You know, it's amazing. Whoa, what a
big steal by Stacey Yule. Bounce pass for Marjorie Kelly. She gets whacked from behind, but she still makes it. Manitoba leads 36-35. First Bison lead of the game.
Well, if Manitoba is not hitting their foul shots and have the lead,
that's
bodes
unbelievable.
well. Yeah, it bodes well for them in the second half.
Now breaking away is T.L. Johannesson for Marjorie Kelly. Kelly being watched by Laurel Johnson. She has to kick it outside. 10 seconds now.
Okay, they've gone into a man-to-man now.
Vicky Neufeld, Kelly's open. Kelly puts the shot up and short. Laurel Johnson tries for the rebound. Manitoba will now have 3 seconds to see what it can do. And Colleen Dufresne will call timeout to see what exactly can be done in that space of time.
That's a good call by Michelle. They've got a chance for a last second shot, set up a situation here, and hopefully for them go into the locker room ahead.
3/10 of a second remaining, so what can you do with 3/10?
Well, basically all you can do in that time is try and lob the ball and get in the air and try and tip it in.
Well, let's see what you can do here.
Okay, Michelle's setting up a double screen, and they're going to try and run a shooter off the double screen. I'm sorry, Colleen. Colleen is going to run a shooter off the double screen. Probably either Marjorie or TL.
3/10 of a second remaining. The Manitoba Bisons have trailed for most of the first half. In fact, for the first 5 minutes, it looked like they might get buried in this game, but they've battled back despite poor foul shooting. And now with 3/10 of a second remaining, they'll see if they can set that double screen. There it is. You see number 7 and number 9 setting it. They tried underneath. Neufeld puts it up. No good. And time expires in the opening half. Well, they ran it just like they drew it. They just couldn't quite execute it. But the Manitoba Bisons have to be delighted with the opening half, which sees them leading by 1 point after an opening 20 minutes where they were in danger of really getting buried by the Toronto Varsity Blues. So Justine Ellison, the CIAU Player of the Year, had to sit on the bench with foul problems, and as she did, Manitoba was able to claw back into the basketball game. The score at the half is 36-35, Manitoba leading, and Bison's coach Colleen Dufresne is standing by with our Teresa Herkert. Teresa?
Thanks so much, Gord. Well, this women's final has certainly lived up to its billing. Colleen, you must be very pleased with how your Bison's team has battled back. Is this Bison's basketball that you were talking about?
Not quite.
Okay.
We're working on it, not quite. We've shot so poorly from the line, otherwise it wouldn't be the score it is. I think defensively we're doing the things that we want to do, and particularly in the pressure in the last 10 minutes, so that's good for us. But we've got to make the shots from the foul line. We've got to continue to be aggressive and attack the hole.
Well, is that going to be your message as you head into this dressing room here in the halftime?
No, I don't want to dwell on foul shots. They'll take care of themselves. The kids will make those, but we want to talk about how we want to continue being aggressive and attacking on offense and on defense.
Colleen Dufresne, thank you very much for joining us. We'll let you get in to be with your team.
My pleasure. Thanks. Can I just say hi to some people? Hi to my husband Kim, and to Leanne, Trish, and Travis, my brother Stephen, Carol, and the kids, Melanie and Philip, and to everyone in the AUAA, my maritime relatives.
Well, everyone's rooting for you, Colleen.
Thanks.
You've been tried by the tide, you've been tested by rain. I'll take you at your word, 'cause you are what you claim. You've been out to the wall, down a road so rough, left out in the cold, but you're made of stronger stuff. There's a story to be told, and it's all there in your name.
Introducing the Top Flight Hot XL. From tea to green, the longest top flight ever.
If you love great food, discover Maple Leaf Prime. It's great chicken every time. Grain-fed and uniquely prepared to meet Maple Leaf's highest standards. It's the best tasting and most tender chicken you can serve. And it's good value, too. That's why more and more families are serving Maple Leaf Prime brand chicken. It's always tender and always good. So it's no surprise that both these chefs insist on Maple Leaf. Maple Leaf Prime. Great chicken every time.
Welcome back, everyone, to Laval University. Welcome back, everyone. We're watching the HMCS Montcalm Band as they're entertaining us here. You know, this has truly been a great women's basketball final, but there are so many other great players right across the country. Thursday night, the CIAU honored them.
The beautiful Chateau Frontenac in the heart of Old Quebec City was the site of the Women's CIAU Basketball Awards. The first-team All-Canadians were honored. They are Terry Lee Johansson, a fourth-year point guard from the University of Manitoba, Justine Ellison of Toronto, Michelle Vespruni of the Mustangs, Victoria's Lisa Coop, and Vicky Tessier from McGill. The second-team All-Canadians are Megan Kosh of the Calgary Dinosaurs, Regina's Trina Mott, the Capers' Janice Moiseychuk, the Ottawa Gigi Stella E. Harwa, and Michelle Healy of the Memorial Seahawks. Andrea Gottsleg, a guard and forward for the Regina Cougars, was named the Saxon Rookie of the Year. She led the all-rookie team that included the Bisons Ann Smith, Lakehead's Alicia Gunn, Karen Voss from Laurentian, and Jackie Simon of the University of Alberta. Justine Ellison, a fifth-year forward from the Varsity Blues, was named the Player of the Year. Ellison led her conference in overall scoring and field goal accuracy this season. And Ron Carew from the University College of Cape Breton was named the CIAU Women's Basketball Coach of the Year. Rosemary Pitfield, Public Relations Officer for the Sports Network, presented the TSN Sylvia Sweeney Award to Jaylene Morrison of the Golden Gales. It's given to the player who best combines athletics with academics and community involvement.
These qualities translate into everyday life, and I believe this will help us move on and contribute in a variety of ways to our own communities. Once again, thank you, TSN. And I wish all the players and coaches good luck, play hard, and enjoy the weekend. Thank you.
Jaylene Morrison, truly an outstanding winner of the TSN Sylvia Sweeney Award. There's still one more award left to be given out. Today's MVP to the player that best signifies the MVP award, as well as the bronze baby will be given to the national champion. Also coming up in this halftime, we have got an update from our TSN Control Center, and we'll be sending you there when our live coverage continues here on TSN.
When a puck is flying at you at 90 miles an hour, you've got to stay totally focused. I can't let hunger get in my way, so I grab a Snickers.
Packed with peanuts, milk chocolate, and caramel. Nothing stops your hunger like a Snickers.
Excuse me, coming through.
When your stomach growls, wolf one down.
We make maple leaf wieners for Courtney, who will only eat Mr. Broccoli if he hasn't touched Mr. Gravy. We make maple leaf wieners for Tim, who says peas explode in his mouth. And for Caitlin, whose scrambled eggs must be shaped like little boats. Maple leaf wieners have a taste made especially for kids. For Kenny, who won't eat anything with sauce, and Jason, who won't eat anything without sauce, there will always be maple leaf.
This sports break is brought to you by Canadian Tire. There's a lot more to Canadian Tire for a lot less.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our TSN Newsroom. I'm Gino Retta. It's Alberta, led by Kevin Martin, Jeff Stoughton, Manitoba, in the final of the Labatt Brier and Kamloops this afternoon. And what a final it is. Stoughton with the first chance to score a pair, playing the draw to the 4-foot. He needs the full 4. The brushers lit up a little. Is it short? It requires a measurement. The umpire comes to the conclusion yellow is closer. Manitoba gets 1. Martin gets some better brushing in the 4th end. He pulls the string a little on this draw, but great sweeping. Gets it to the 8-foot. Martin gets a pair to lead 3-2. Stoughton in his pre-shot ritual looking to make the hit and roll, and he will. He does it to perfection. The perfect little flop in front of the Alberta Rock. Stoughton gets 2. Manitoba leads it 4-3. Martin looking at a mess in the 6th end. He needs to make the draw to save the point. He's still struggling with his weight. It's too heavy. And Manitoba steals a point to lead 5-3. To the 7th end we go. 5-3 Manitoba. Manitoba lying 1, looking to steal. Martin looking at a 25-foot angle raise. Folks, this is one of the great shots in Brier history.
He's got a chance to get 3.
What an outstanding shot.
You know he's close. Look at this. Straight back. He's got it.
Straight back scores 3. Kevin Martin and his Alberta rink are back in this one. They're up by a score of 6-5 after 7th ends. They were almost falling back 6-3. Instead, they are right back in it. A reminder, Sports Desk coming up at 6:30 Eastern.
And in other news, yet another new kind of mysterious circle.
Burning the midnight oil, Sheila?
Not tonight, Pete. I'm working late. Mysterious circles. Chocolate, peanut butter, swirls. What? Sheila, it's Rory.
Rory, mysterious circles are caused by...
No one knows where.
Reese Peanut Butter Cups, a close encounter of real milk chocolate and peanut butter.
Don't panic, Peter. I'm sure they'll come on.
Winter got you a little unhinged? Then get in on Swiss Chalet's Real Early Summer Half Side Rib Special. Medium tender summer barbecue side ribs, picnic-style coleslaw, your favorite side dish, and a scrumptious slice of garlic bread. All at the sizzling summer price of just $6.75. Swiss Chalet's Half Side Rib Special. Hey, we're into it.
Excuse me, how many ways could you eat rice?
Steamed rice.
Chicken fried rice.
So there's only 2 ways to eat rice?
Yes.
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 This is a bowl of Kellogg's Rice Krispies cereal. Does it give you any other ideas? Apparently, you're among the few people who haven't heard that each Kellogg's Rice Krispies is made with a real grain of wholesome rice.
They're good.
So let us ask you just one more question. What the heck did you think it was made with?
This isn't gonna make us look stupid, is it?
If you love great food, discover Maple Leaf Prime. It's great chicken every time. Grain-fed and uniquely prepared to meet Maple Leaf's highest standards. It's the best tasting and most tender chicken you can serve. And it's good value, too. That's why more and more families are serving Maple Leaf Prime brand chicken. It's always tender and always good. So it's no surprise that both these chefs insist on Maple Leaf. Maple Leaf Prime. Great chicken every time.
Well, hope you're enjoying the women's basketball final. CIAU action all day on TSN, and coming up a little bit later on, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific time, from this building, Maple Leaf Gardens, Acadia going up against Waterloo. I'll have the play-by-play. Hello again, everybody. I'm Paul Romanuk, along with my partner, Randy Gregg. Looking forward to this one based on a couple of very close and entertaining hockey games that we saw yesterday. Let's talk a little bit, first of all, about Acadia. Specialty teams playing a big role in their victory over UQTR, including a shorthanded goal that really seemed to push it their way.
Well, no question. Acadia was very, very strong and aggressive. As you can see here, Jason Weaver going hard, killing a penalty, hard to the net. But take a look at his partner, Greg Clancy, coming right through the middle. Nice, easy 5-hole goal. And that's what Acadia has to continue to do, put lots of pressure in this CIU final game.
Well, you look at this line, Weaver was a dominant force using his size. Clancy and Witten, the big line, all came through for them. Was not the case for UQTR. A big disappointment when you look at their big line, in particular the leading scorer in all of Canadian University hockey, Mark Bocage. Unfortunately for Mark, did not have one of his best games, was nowhere to be seen, and his team was not the better for it. When you talk about Waterloo, a man we spoke of back in the blue line, big leader with the club, Sullivan Award winners, the CIAU Player of the Year, John Wynn. He had a big day yesterday. The big game players come through in the big ones. John did with 3 assists, including 1 here in this insurance goal.
Well, like for most of the game, Calgary playing fairly well. A couple of miscues. Here's an important one. Wynn gets it to the front of the net, of course, the insurance marker. But Wynn, a real key on the blue line, and not often do you see your key player being a big defenseman like that. He's played forward in the past, but certainly if Waterloo is going to be effective today, John Wynn is going to lead them.
And a tough break for Calgary, and 9 times now they have been denied entry into the big championship game. A tough break for them in a very well-played game. Based on what you saw yesterday, Randy, what can we expect in this one?
You know, that's one of the beauties, Paul, of the CIU finals. These teams haven't played together, and so we know that they're going to come out, they're going to test each other early, but aggressiveness, discipline, commitment to play as a great team is going to make a winner and a loser today.
Hey, looking forward to this one. It is Acadia coming up against Waterloo. We'll be back with all the action from that one. In the meantime, enjoy the women's basketball final.
If you love great food, discover Maple Leaf Prime. It's great chicken every time. Grain-fed and uniquely prepared to meet Maple Leaf's highest standards. It's the best tasting and most tender chicken you can serve. And it's good value, too. That's why more and more families are serving Maple Leaf Prime brand chicken. It's always tender and always good. So it's no surprise that both these chefs insist on Maple Leaf. Maple Leaf Prime. Great chicken every time.
Winter got you a little unhinged? Then get in on Swiss Chalet's Real Early Summer Half Side Rib Special. Medium tender summer barbecue side ribs, picnic-style coleslaw, your favorite side dish, and a scrumptious slice of garlic bread. All at the sizzling summer price of just $6.75. Swiss Chalet's half-side rib special. Hey, we're into it.
And in other news, yet another new kind. Mysterious circles.
Burning the midnight oil, Sheila?
Not tonight, Pete. I'm working late. Mysterious circles. Chocolate, peanut butter, squirrels. What? Sheila, it's Rory.
Rory, mysterious circles are caused by...
No one knows where.
Reese Peanut Butter Cups, a close encounter of real milk chocolate and peanut butter.
Don't panic, Pete. I'm sure they'll come on.
Welcome back to TSN's live coverage of the women's basketball final as Manitoba has a 1-point lead over the University of Toronto. The score right now at the half, 36-35, and the Toronto Blue Boys are out here trying to cheer their team on as the Blues try to go for a national championship. Well, all of the players are striving toward perhaps being a member of the national team, and this is the coach, Peter Ennis, of the national team. Many fine CIAU players have come aboard to grace the team over the years. How are they looking as they head into the Olympics?
Looking good. We've got 8 of our 12 last year that qualified for the Olympics in Hamilton are CIU players. And out of the 16 we kept all summer, there was 12 of them. So it was a great place to feed for us, and we're really anxious to see that this continues and helps us out.
Well, thank you so much, Peter. I understand that you're going across Canada this summer, and good luck in Atlanta. Let's take you back to Gord Miller.
Thanks very much, Teresa, getting set for the start of the second half. Interesting to note, Kathy, Justine Ellison back into the game for Toronto. We had her at 3 fouls. However, the official scorer says that she has just 2. Apparently, one collision was not a foul. Ellison sat a long stretch late in the second half. Would you agree with that decision by Michelle Boulanger?
Yes, I think that's good coaching strategy on Michelle's part. She's now got Tina back fresh. They've still got a close score, and Tina can play without worrying about fouls.
And Ellison quickly goes up for the ball with Stacey Ewell, and Toronto able to control. This is Liz Hart. Ellison puts it up, and it goes, and Justine Ellison very quickly strikes for her 18th point of the game. She leads all scorers.
Justine came in quick and hit that shot against Manitoba's zone.
Marjorie Kelly with the miss. And now Toronto opening the second half much like it did the first. Remember, Toronto began the game with a 10-0 run.
Well, that's got to make Michelle feel good that Justine is back in the lineup and able to score so quickly.
Laurel Johnson with the bounce pass. That time, Ellison with the miss, and now Manitoba quickly up the floor. T.L. Johannesson working underneath, and she gets it to go. T.L. Johannesson with her 18th point of the game.
Manitoba's had a bit of a containing press there, just to slow Toronto down.
Top of the key, and that time Laurel Johnson, just as easy as you please, throws that in.
I think she's having a great game.
Laurel Johnson now with 10. Here's Marjorie Kelly.
Toronto's back in the zone.
They try to whip it inside for Vicky Neufeld. Marjorie Kelly comes up with it, but Laurel Johnson comes away with the final bounce.
Oh, it's a great block shot by Laurel.
Here's Liz Hart. Into the corner, and the shot by Kate Brancart falls short. Stacey Ewell puts it up, and it won't go. Stacey Ewell still does not have a point in the game. And Ewell trying to kick it underneath. It's off a Toronto player. Manitoba will maintain possession.
Stacey's a very unheralded player on Manitoba, but boy, you know, a very valuable leader for them. Fifth-year player, does the little things.
You talk about senior leadership, but I know that's one thing that all university coaches talk about is leadership from the seniors. Ann Smith puts her head down and bumps in there to Justine Ellison. Smith lost the handle, but it's off a Toronto player. Manitoba will get it back, and Ellison might have been fortunate not to draw the third foul. Johannesson now as Manitoba resets the offense. Stacey Ewell. This is Kelly.
Toronto's picked up man-to-man now.
Here's Ann Smith. Smith wheels, fires, it won't go, but Vicky Neufeld tried to save it. Toronto, however, comes away with it.
Manitoba's got to be a little more patient, I think. Trying to get it too quick.
Toronto with a 1-point lead. Laurel Johnson, though, took an extra step. And Michelle Belanger quickly up and working the official. Both these coaches are experts, along with yourself, at getting the most from the officials.
Yes, both these coaches know how to work the officials. Want to make sure the officials are staying awake.
And Smith took a bump. The ball almost rested on the backboard and wouldn't fall. And now we've got play stopped. It'll be Toronto basketball and a foul.
Sometimes coaches come out of these games, I think, feeling just as exhausted as the players.
Vicky Neufeld with the foul. That is her first. And the team's first of this second half.
Manitoba in zone again.
Yvonne Spaczynski now over across the top to Laurel Johnson. Her pass is picked off, and Marjorie Kelly quickly brings it back for Manitoba. T.L. Johannesson with the shot, won't go. Rebound, and Ewell comes up with it off the glass, and the first points of the game for Stacey Ewell give Manitoba the lead back.
Great offensive rebound.
Now a steal by T.L. Johannesson, and Manitoba enjoying a 3-point lead. And now the up-tempo Manitoba game, you can see them trying to trap underneath there as they tried to block Yvonne Spaczynski in. And a foul is called on T.L. Johannesson.
Well, Manitoba's gotten most of their scores off turnovers, off open court running.
The foul is, pardon me, Kathy, the foul is Johannesson's second. Checking out of the game for Toronto is number 14. Laurel Johnson coming in as number 6. Stephanie Splitter, the first-year phys ed student. Two freshmen now playing in this national championship game. Shot by Liz Hart won't go. Back comes Manitoba. The Bisons sprinting down the floor. Here's Kelly. Marjorie Kelly pulls up and makes, count it, and the foul.
Marjorie Kelly's starting to get untracked a little bit now, offensively, and that's a big key for the Bisons in the second half.
Yvonne Spaczynski with the foul. That is her third of the game. And now Marjorie Kelly with a chance to add to Manitoba's biggest lead of the game. And she does. Foul shooting was a problem for the Bisons in the first half, but Kelly able to complete the three-point play. Now bringing it up the floor was Yvonne Spaczynski, but she's fouled going back the other way, and it's Stacey Ewell who got her, and Ewell is grabbing her right ankle. That's her second foul, and the last thing Colleen Dufresne needs to see is her only starting senior down on the floor.
Yeah, that would be a terrible loss. I hope Stacey's able to continue to play, because she's really providing the stability on this team.
And watch her right ankle right there as it rolls over. She actually stepped on the back of Spaczynski's foot, and she remains down on the floor.
I think one of the things Manitoba, as long as they can get easy scores, they can get into their press, they just got to try and stay out of foul trouble. Shoot a little bit better from the line now.
Stacey Ewell goes to the bench for medical attention, and it would appear that Glenda Clark will check into the game for the Bisons. Clark, number 5, is a second-year phys ed student from Brandon. In fact, 9 of the 11 players on the Manitoba roster are natives of the province of Manitoba. And it is Glenda Clark who comes in.
Glenda Clark played a strong game last night in the semifinals against Western Ontario. She came off the bench and gave them some scoring and rebounding.
Justine Ellison strikes for Toronto. She now has 20. And in 3 games in this tournament, actually just over 2 games, she has 70 points. Marjorie Kelly off the rim, it won't go, and a massive fight for the rebound underneath. Jump ball, the possession arrow points in favor of the Manitoba Bisons. Timeout on the floor, 15:34 to play in the second half. Manitoba leads by 4.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. In just a minute today, your thighs can look like
2 big mouth-watering patties in a rich
hypoallergenic base that makes your skin feel like
toupee in a can. Gets rid of bald spots. In fact, it looks just like
fabulous fake fur. Fantastic for my rump roast. Now easier to handle with a roast wrangler.
Life can be heavy. Keep it light. Clear your mind with a clearly great new taste. Check out new 7-Up Light.
Welcome back, everyone. This little guy sure got an interest in this game. You know, juggling a family and a career is really tough, and that's what Colleen Dufresne, the coach of the University of Manitoba, has been doing. But she's lucky enough to have her dad, Lionel, and her son, looking after son Nicholas today. Lionel, you're telling me this is a well-traveled baby.
It sure is. This is his 4th trip to Montreal from Winnipeg. 1 trip to Edmonton. He's getting to know all the players there now quite well.
Yeah, he's got a career coming up in broadcasting here, too.
Super little boy.
Yeah. Well, last night after their semifinal win, Colleen dedicated the win to her mom, who passed away in October. I would imagine her mom, Teresa McDonald Dufresne, would be very proud of Colleen right now, Lionel.
Very, very proud of her. And I wish she could be here.
Yeah, doing it in the memory of her mom. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Hi to all my friends. Bye.
Marjorie Kelly with the basket for the Manitoba Bisons. A nice story about the Bisons, about the dedication, and you know, that's tough for Colleen Dufresne to have a young baby. She gave birth, what, 7 months ago. It's full-time enough coaching a basketball team, try raising a child at the same time.
Yeah, what a great situation. She's got a supportive husband who, and obviously a very supportive father.
And her team now up by 6. And Justine Ellison called for the walk, and Ellison doesn't like that call. Her team down by 6 with 15-17 to play. Stacey Ewell remains on the Manitoba bench as Glenda Clark helps direct the offense, but T.L. Johannesson does all the offense by herself there. She goes coast to coast, and now the Manitoba lead is 8. Johannesson has 22 and now leads all scorers.
Well, Manitoba's pressure is really bothering Toronto.
Here's Ellison wide open, and Justine Ellison makes it. And will the basket count? Yes, it will.
That's a nice answer to Manitoba's pressure. If they can get the ball down, get easy scores like that, it's going to make Manitoba have a lot tougher time being able to put as much pressure on.
Foul was on Ann Smith, and that's a problem. That is her 4th. And Smith will now check out of the game. As coming in is Kyla Koski. Koski saw some action in the first half, so Smith sits down with 4 fouls.
Yeah, that could be a problem. There's a lot of time left in this game.
Vicky Neufeld comes away with that rebound. Here comes Glenda Clark with it. Ahead for T.L. Johannesson. Clark for Johannesson. Neufeld. Across she goes to Koski. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Johannesson puts it up and short. Rebound Neufeld. 3 Toronto varsity Blues underneath, but Neufeld is able to make it go.
What a great offensive board.
Manitoba lead is 8, and the Bisons continue to apply the pressure no matter who's on the floor. Ellison working one-on-one against Neufeld. Great move by Justine Ellison.
What an athletic move. Change direction in the air, put it in. Toronto's back with a little half-court pressure themselves, trying to cause some turnovers.
From the corner, and the shot falls for Glenda Clark. And now the Manitoba lead again is 8. And the Bisons show no signs of giving up. T.L. Johannesson with the steal. The Bisons quickly up the floor. And now Johannesson will set the offense. You hate to compare a Manitoba Bison to a player from the University of Winnipeg, but T.L. Johannesson reminds me a lot of Sandra Carroll.
Well, they do have some similarities. T.L. likes to penetrate a little bit more. Sandra had such a great outside shot.
Just love to shoot the ball from outside, but the way they bring the ball up the floor, the coolness under fire.
Very much so. Both terrific competitors, great athletes.
Kate Brancart with the miss, and the catch goes to Marjorie Kelly. Manitoba with a chance to take a 10-point lead. Johannesson calmly sets the offense. Under 13 minutes to play in the second half. Johannesson puts it up and offline. And they're battling for the rebound underneath. Kyla Koski was fighting for it there.
I think one of the things Manitoba has to watch is that they don't take a lot of early shots. they've got the great lead, they've got the momentum, they got to be patient, they got to be poised.
Kyla Koski with the foul. That is her first of the game. It is the fourth team foul to Manitoba. Bisons lead by 8. The lead is really seesawed back and forth in this game.
What a great game. It's just two great teams.
Liz Hart with the off-balance leaner, and Toronto now within 6.
Liz did it last night. She brought U of T back when they were down. See if she can do it again.
Marjorie Kelly, that won't go as it walks across the rim, and Ellison fights her way to get the rebound. Stacey Ewell has gone to the Manitoba dressing room for more medical attention. Ellison lost it, but it's saved by Liz Hart, and now the bump. Glenda Clark put down Yvonne Spaczynski. That is Clark's first foul.
Still lots of time left in the game. Toronto's just got to keep their poise as well, not panic, just try and chip away at the lead.
Underneath, Liz Hart off the glass, no good. Spaczynski with the rebound, no shot. And Toronto will inbound on the Manitoba foul. 11:57 to play here in the second half. It's a 6-point lead. Timeout on the floor. We'll return to the CIAU Women's Basketball Championship from Laval in a moment.
We make maple leaf wieners for Courtney, who will only eat Mr. Broccoli if he hasn't touched Mr. Gravy. We make maple leaf wieners for Tim, who says peas explode in his mouth. And for Caitlin, whose scrambled eggs must be shaped like little boats. Maple leaf wieners have a taste made especially for kids. For Kenny, who won't eat anything with sauce, and Jason, who won't eat anything without sauce, there will always be maple leaf.
Welcome back to Laval University, the CIAU Women's Basketball Championship between the University of Manitoba Bisons and the Toronto Varsity Blues, and Michelle Boulanger of Toronto diagramming the attack for her team.
It's a little bit difficult to see, but I think Michelle's trying to work on attacking the full court pressure. They're getting trapped very early by Manitoba, and they're getting the ball very deep. And that's a concern. It's very difficult then to get the ball out.
One thing most coaches say is that attacking full court pressure is a little bit of system, but a lot of patience and confidence.
Very much so.
When you don't have confidence, full court pressure can really affect you.
Yeah, and full court, as I said before, full court pressure takes its toll because it starts wearing you down.
Last foul is on T.L. Johannesson of Manitoba. That is her third. Liz Hart for Ellison, and Ellison trying to get around T.L. Johannesson, and that is her fourth.
Now that is a key, costly foul. T.L. picked up a real quick fourth foul there on Tina.
Johannesson picks up 2 quick fouls, and now she may have to go to the Manitoba bench. Remember, Stacey Ewell, the other starting point guard, is out of this game with an injury.
Yeah, it's going to test TL's experience and you know, her ability to stay in the game now and play.
Justine Ellison at the line made the first. Gets them both. Now Stacey Ewell is back at the Manitoba bench after going to the dressing room. So if Johannesson has to check out, no doubt Colleen Dufresne would like to get Ewell back in the game. Here's Marjorie Kelly, double teamed. Johannesson has that walk across the rim. Fighting for the rebound underneath, Kyla Koski. And Koski is charged with the foul.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that foul was on the rebound or when she tried to go back up. It was a great offensive rebound. Here she goes here.
That little shove right there, and that's Koski's second foul.
Well, they say the Toronto player held her ground.
T.L. Johannesson sits down for Manitoba. Fighting her way inside is Liz Hart. And it looks as though she might have been fouled by Ann Smith. Ann Smith just checked back into the game. And that's 5 fouls on Ann Smith. So much for that theory. Ann Smith comes right into the game, fouls out. Now Colleen Dufresne really has a problem. Here's her situation. Her starting point guard, Stacey Ewell, has turned her ankle. She's been trying to walk on it in behind the bench. Her All-Canadian, T.L. Johannesson, the other guard, is carrying 4 fouls. Ann Smith, who just came in to play guard, has fouled out.
Yes, this is a real problem now for Manitoba. They got a 4-point lead, but it's not enough, and they've got some very serious foul trouble.
Now the question, can Stacey Ewell come back into the game? Ewell is in the huddle. She wears number 4.
Yeah, Stacey can play. That'll certainly help solve the most immediate problem, STL's.
But on a bad ankle, surely she can't play the up-tempo kind of game that Manitoba has been successful with. And yes, Stacey Ewell checks back into the game for the Manitoba Bisons, but she's limping noticeably on her right ankle. And Liz Hart goes to the line for Toronto, trying to cut the lead to 2.
Well, it's a national championship game. Stacey will give it everything she's got.
There must be a lid on that rim, because foul shooting down at that end has been the problem. Liz Hart makes the second. Toronto trails by 3, and here comes Stacey Ewell. And you can see that she is limping noticeably. Kyla Koski is the other guard, so T.L. Johannesson sits down. And a big clutch shot made there by Glenda Clark.
Now you see if the bench will come through. A player like Glenda Clark, she did it last night in the semis. She helped them off the bench.
But the University of Toronto boasts the Player of the Year in Justine Ellison, and she may go to town. Ellison with the steal, but Manitoba able to quickly get it back. Stacey Ewell. Marjorie Kelly is open. Kelly offline. Rebound to Laurel Johnson, who quickly brings it up the floor. Now Toronto is running the floor. Johnson trying to work inside, and they call the charge on Laurel Johnson. That's her first foul.
Well, Laurel, is trying to play guard there. She's Toronto's center, and she brought the ball up the floor, and all she had to do was stop and give it off to a playmaker, and she tried to take it to heart to the basket and got the charge.
10.5 minutes to play here in the second half. Here's Glenda Clark, number 5 with it. She's been pressed into service with T.L. Johannesson on the bench. Vicky Neufeld with a shot that is short. Justine Ellison fights for the ball. They call a jump, and Manitoba has the possession arrow. It'll be Manitoba ball with the Bisons enjoying a 3-point lead.
Again, I think Manitoba is being a little bit impatient. Both times down, one pass into a shot.
And Stacey Ewell, number 4, will try it again for Manitoba. Down in the corner for Marjorie Kelly, off the dribble, double team, it won't go. But the rebound does go to Kyla Koski. And Kyla Koski quietly getting it done. She gets her first points, but she's been rebounding like a demon.
Again, great scoring and rebounding from both Glenda Clark and Koski.
Liz Hart's 3-point try falls short. And on the tip, it is Manitoba ball.
Toronto's back in man-to-man.
Ewell in the corner for Marjorie Kelly, one-on-one. But Kelly walked, and it'll be Toronto ball. Liz Hart with it now. 5-point Manitoba lead.
Manitoba's in the half-court zone.
Liz Hart on the drive, and it will not go. And quickly, Manitoba 3-on-1. Stacey Ewell bounce pass underneath. Glenda Clark with the shot, but she was fouled by Liz Hart. That is her second. Now coming back into the game for Toronto is Kate Brancart, number 11. She'll take the place of Laurel Johnson, number 14.
I think Toronto's got to get back to what got them the early lead. They've got to start getting the ball back to Tina Ellison inside and trying to get some easy scores and get to the foul line.
Glenda Clark, a 73% free throw shooter. One thing to keep in mind here, and it's interesting, of all the starters for Manitoba, their worst free throw shooter is Stacey Ewell, number 4, and she handles the ball the most.
That could be a problem down the stretch if they have the lead.
Ewell, a 53% free throw shooter over the course of the season. And she's on a wobbly ankle as it is. Ewell in the corner. Almost daring her to shoot. Kyla Koski works across. The shot falls short, and quickly the rebound there goes to Rachel Deamois, who checks back into the game for Toronto. Yvonne Spaczynski. Up top for Brancard, it won't go, and Kyla Koski with another big rebound for Manitoba.
Yeah, she's doing just a terrific job. Getting the rebounds, getting these little scores inside.
Great pass underneath there to Vicky Neufeld, but Neufeld was fouled as she went up. Justine Ellison with the foul. Check that, it's Elizabeth Hart with the foul. That is her third.
Well, Toronto's still allowing Manitoba to penetrate. And they, even with TL off the floor.
Vicky Neufeld from Winkler, Manitoba. Makes it just like that. She was all tournament at the CIAU championship last year.
She's had a great career at University of Manitoba.
He makes them both, and the lead is 7.
Hitting their foul shots the second half.
Well, Colleen Dufresne told Teresa Herkes at the half that if they could make their foul shot, she thought that would take care of itself. Now a steal by Marjorie Kelly. She pulls up, leaves it short. Stacey Ewell backs up, and as Ewell goes to take the shot, she is fouled. She'll go to the line. And we'll get an early look at how Stacey Ewell's foul shooting is going.
Toronto has to control the boards, and Manitoba's gotten way too many second shots.
Kate Brancard with the foul for Toronto. The Varsity Blues are trailing by 7 as Manitoba pours it on in the second half.
Ginny, 365 days a year.
Welcome back to Laval University. I'm Gord Miller with Teresa Hergert and Kathy Shields, the head coach of the Victoria Vikes and the former head coach of our national women's team for the CIAU Women's Basketball Championship for 1996. Colleen Dufresne's Manitoba Bisons enjoying a 7-point lead and trying to keep the CIAU women's title in the province of Manitoba. The University of Winnipeg has won it the 3 previous years. And what a credit it is, and we wanted to talk about this, the high school programs in Manitoba. The University of Manitoba and the University of Winnipeg have outstanding basketball and volleyball programs, and by and large the players are homegrown. As we mentioned, 9 of the 11 players for the Bisons are from the province of Manitoba.
Well, it's tremendous credit to the high school programs, the high school coaches in that province. They've done a great job and been able to feed the universities.
Stacey Ewell, as you mentioned, shot 53% from the free throw line over the course of the regular season, but makes the first. Makes them both, in fact, and the lead is 9.
Another zone press, half-court press with a trap at half-court.
Rachel Deamois up top for Spaczynski, and it rolls in and out. And Vicky Neufeld quickly with the rebound to Stacey Ewell. Ewell for Neufeld, working one-on-one with Ellison. The bounce pass goes underneath and bounces to Marjorie Kelly. She can't get it to fall, and finally, Spaczynski comes away with the rebound. Justine Ellison has been closely watched in the second half.
Yeah, they've sat in the zone. Manitoba's been playing the zone and been able to keep the ball away from Tina's hands.
Liz Hart with the miss. Marjorie Kelly on the run, and she is blocked there by Kate Brancard. And Brancard draws the foul.
You know, talking a little bit more about the Winnipeg Manitoba high school players, one of the neat things is they stayed at home. They haven't gone to the States. They stayed at home and developed university programs there.
Well, Marjorie Kelly had an unopposed path to the basket until Kate Brancart came over and took care of that. And perhaps a good foul there, and Kelly misses the front end. Marjorie Kelly, a second-year art student, who had 43 points in the final 2 playoff games against the Winnipeg Westmen. Winnipeg won the first game of the best of 3, but Manitoba came back to take the last 2.
Yeah, and I think that shows, you know, they won home court advantage, and they played their last 2 games at the University of Manitoba.
Justine Ellison was trying to get through underneath, but there was nothing there. Ellison is fouled.
Before the game, Michelle Belanger was mentioning that they were concerned about how to contain Marjorie Kelly, and I really think she's turned it on in the second half.
Vicky Neufeld with the Manitoba foul. It is her second. Remember that Manitoba has built up this lead largely with its best player on the bench. All-Canadian TL Johannesson with foul trouble has been sitting down for the last 4 minutes or so.
Well, it's pretty nice for Colleen Dufresne to be able to not only rest TL, but you know, get some minutes off the clock and get her back in it, you know, with maybe 4.5 minutes left in the game. 6:59 to go in the second half, and the Manitoba Bisons with an 8-point lead over the Toronto Varsity Blues. And if the Blues do come back, it may be due in some small part to their fan support. Teresa Hergert is surrounded by painted men. Yes, Teresa surrounded by painted men. What's it all about, T?
Oh, Gord, you like to start the rumors, but yes, it is true. It's you know, unfortunately, right now for these guys, Manitoba's got the lead, but they're doing their best to cheer their team on. What are you guys doing to provide inspiration here today?
Go Blues go, basically, that's all. That's it. That's all you can do. Kind of team right there.
Well, I understand that you're on the national volleyball team. Your name, sir?
No, I'm not. You're wrong.
You said you're at the Nationals, though.
Oh, I was at the volleyball national for CIUs for university. And that was last weekend in Calgary and for U of T. And we just came back now, drove right out here.
Oh, very good. I understand you're staying at the Chateau Frontenac. Not too bad.
We are. Hot tubs and swimming pools and everything like that.
I just got one other question. I'm really worried. Do you think this stuff's going to come off?
It's worth it. You know, the Blues, both basketball and volleyball, both men's and women's came through. We're just here to support them, and hey, it comes off, doesn't it doesn't. No big deal.
Well, grab the Comet. Let's take you back to Gord Miller.
All I can say is, Teresa, I'm not spending any time in the hot tub with those guys tonight. Glenda Clark brings it up the floor for Manitoba. The Bisons lead it by 8.
Yeah, Toronto's trying to up the pressure, trying to get some turnovers, get the ball back.
Stacey Ewell trying to fire it underneath. We've got a foul in behind there. It looks like Laurel Johnson will be called. That'll be her second.
You know, Toronto's in man-to-man. They have to really work hard man-to-man, try and come back from this deficit.
And Manitoba inbounded. 6.5 minutes to play here in the second half. And Manitoba able to weather the storm while TL Johannesson was out of the game. And she remains on the bench. Kyla Koski can't get the shot to fall, and here come the Varsity Blues. Liz Hart.
Toronto's got lots of time. They really have to make sure, again, that they just take their time every possession, see if they can get it, find a way to get it inside the Tina. Manitoba's doing a very good job on her.
No openings there. Kate Brancart drives and finally gets it to go just as the shot clock was about to expire. The lead is down to 6. And getting set to come back into the game is TL Johannesson for Manitoba. So the Bison's able to weather the storm. Buell for Kyla Koski. Glenda Clark is open, and it won't go. And the Varsity Blues rebound and will quickly bring it up the floor. Liz Hart. Spaczynski underneath for Elliott. Ellison's got 3 players on her. Liz Hart trying for 3, it won't go. They battle underneath. Marjorie Kelly away with it. And here's Stacy Ewell on the break, and Ewell makes the easy layup. Manitoba up by 8.
That was a great rebound again by Marjorie Kelly. Great athlete.
Toronto tried to cut the lead to 3 with the 3-point shot. Instead, finds itself down 8. And every trip now is a war. Brancart can't get the fall. Justine Ellison does get the rebound for a moment. And finally, Liz Hart gets the rebound.
Toronto's got to be able to hit some outside shots. They're really relying on Tina, and they're giving her a very difficult time.
And Ellison couldn't make there. C.L. Johannesson continues to wait for a stoppage in play. Marjorie Kelly pulls up, it won't go. And here's Ellison with it.
Got a little motion against the Manitoba zone.
From the corner, Liz Hart hits for 3. Big shot for the Varsity Blues, who now trail by 5. Finally, as you mentioned, Toronto able to heat up a shot.
Well, if they can hit 1 or 2 of those, it's going to open the inside up again. People are going to have to, Manitoba's going to have to come out and defend those shooters.
Neufeld, great spin move underneath. The basket won't go. Ellison fighting her off for the rebound. It is Toronto ball. 3:49 to play in the second half. Manitoba leads by 5.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. In just a minute today, your thighs can look like
2 big mouth-watering patties in a rich,
hypoallergenic base that makes your skin feel like
toupee in a can. Gets rid of bald spots. In fact, it looks just like
fabulous fake fur. Fantastic for my rump roast. Now easier to handle with a roast wrangler.
Life can be heavy. Keep it light. Clear your mind with a clearly great new taste. Check out new 7-Up Light.
Well, you can call her Terry Lee, but she probably wouldn't answer. Better known as T.L. Johannesson. She got 22 points today. That accounts for better than a third of the Manitoba Bisons offense, and she's set to come back in carrying 4 fouls.
Yeah, and I think Terry Lee is just an incredible competitor. I think, every time there's a tough situation, every time I've seen her in the last 2 years, she finds a way. She's got great heart.
So she goes back into the game with Stacy Ewell, and think back to 5 minutes ago, both those players were out of the game. Ewell with a bad ankle, and Johannesson carrying 4 fouls. So they're back in, 3:49 to play in the second half. The possession arrow favors Toronto, and the Varsity Blues trail the game by 5. Underneath is Ellison, and maybe you're right, the open shot opens up the play underneath, because Justine Ellison gets her easiest basket in quite a while.
Yeah, they came out on Laurel Johnson there and left Tina wide open for a nice layup.
Johannesson makes her first. After 5 minutes on the bench, she comes off and makes her first, and quickly, full court pressure, and they've got Spaczynski hemmed into the corner, but now Toronto able to break away. Deamois underneath Ellison, and she is fouled as she goes up.
That's the one problem that Manitoba, we've just seen when they pressure high, if they don't get back hard, it leaves it open for a great player like Tina in the open court.
Kyla Koski with the foul, her third. Justine Ellison goes to the line. Ellison now has 30 points on the afternoon.
You got you both All-Canadians just having outstanding games.
She makes this, she'll have accounted for better than half of her team's scoring. She does, and she has. Now the lead is 3, and we're in for a finish. All the starters are back into the game now, with the exception of Ann Smith of Manitoba, who was fouled out.
Well, the bench players off Manitoba have done a great job.
Great drive by Terry Lee Johannesson, and she ups the lead back to 5. Liz Hart Cornered down there, able to get it away. Rachel Damois. Damois into the corner. Laurel Johnson thought about it, now moves underneath, and she is fouled as she works under there.
That last score by TL, that was a great call by probably by the coach for an isolation.
Vicki Neufeld with a foul, that is her third. And to the line goes Laurel Johnson. On the year, a 60% free throw shooter.
Oh. Those are huge right now. Absolutely huge.
Makes them both.
Good for Laurel.
Clutch free throw shooting brings Toronto back within 3 with under 2.5 minutes to play in the second half. They're almost daring Ewell to shoot. She throws it underneath for Vicki Neufeld. Touched by a Manitoba player on the way out. Toronto ball.
Toronto is trying to deny TL Johannesson the ball there and allowing Stacy to have the ball. Stacy Ewell.
Ellison, triple teamed off the glass and good.
What a great play.
That's why she's the player of the year. Justine Ellison brings her team within 1 with 2:01 to play in the second half, and timeout call. Well, for a time, it looked like this game might get away from Michelle Boulanger's team. They've battled back, now within 1. Manitoba was able to withstand the problems of injuries and foul trouble. Take us inside both huddles. Listen to Michelle Boulanger first.
Defensively, 7 is lowest, 9 is high. Tina, you're on the high side. Laurel's going to be behind you. We're sagging down low. 4 is out here. You're on her. You're playing her on it. Okay? The other one is they're trying to clear out for TL. So don't all turn your back. Offensively, keep working the ball. Work your triangle. Work your triangle.
An interpretation perhaps.
Yeah, what Michelle is just telling her team is on offense, work the triangle against the zone. Get an outside shooter on the wing, get somebody down in the corner who can shoot the ball, and get Tina probably inside. Work your triangle.
When they say play Ewell honest, what do they mean by that?
What they're saying is don't sag off Ewell. Play her straight up, and play her shot, play her drive.
Because that last possession, they were virtually daring her to shoot. Here's Kelly with it. Off the screen, Kelly won't go. And Ewell comes up with a catch. New 30 now for Manitoba.
Another second shot for Manitoba. Another second shot opportunity.
And Johannesson is content to work time off the shot clock. Wow. Now from the corner, off the iron, no good. Liz Hart quickly working up with Ellison. And now Hart will pull up and Toronto will set the offense. Laurel Johnson. They're trying to get it underneath to Justine Ellison, who is triple teamed. Hart now for Ellison. Quadruple team. They collapse to her. Hart with a three-point try. No good. Manitoba with the rebound and jump ball. It'll be Toronto basketball.
Yeah,
I think arrow points to Toronto. Sorry, Cass.
It's okay. Liz, I mean, if that shot had fallen for Liz, that would have been huge. Everybody's just absolutely collapsing on Tina, and they have to hit those outside shots.
Varsity Blues trying for their first lead since they led 39-38. Now they work around. Laurel Johnson thought about shooting for a moment. Ellison is being mugged underneath. In the corner, Liz Hart steps, shoots, and makes it. And Toronto back on top, under a minute to play, and they're running and gunning here in Laval. Off the glass, no good. Neufeld trying for the rebound, can't get it. Loose ball. They still battle for it. And jump ball, that'll be Manitoba ball. 33.7 seconds left.
Well, they ran a one-on-one isolate for TL, but she couldn't get it to drop that time.
Timeout called by Manitoba's Colleen Dufresne. And let's go listen in on her huddle if we can. Her assistant coach, Mike Hickey, who actually directed this team for a time early this year when Colleen was on maternity leave.
Very experienced coach. Been in the CIU for many years. Very good coach.
Let's listen to Colleen Dufresne.
Okay, we're going to get the ball to Tia. Okay, we're going to get the ball to Tia. And we're going to get set in 1-4. Okay, okay, in 1-4.
B is Vicky Neufeld.
Okay, on this side. Stacey on the other side. Okay.
And Miss Marjorie Kelly.
You guys are going to flatten down. We're going to use the screen. You can use it any way you want. You can set it that way. You can go this way. Okay. And then we crash the boards. Roll, roll, roll. Okay. If we don't get the score, we're man to man. And we, okay. We got foul. We got to stop the clock. 3, 2, 1. Right.
The instructions in the other huddle from Michelle Belanger: do not foul.
Yeah, Colleen's setting up a 1-4 offense high, allowing a penetration situation with the screen for TL.
And you saw a diagram. Do you see right where TL Johannesson is standing? And she has the basketball, sets the screen, puts it up, won't go. Vicky Neufeld, the rebound, that's blocked. They fight away underneath, and look at the scramble for the ball. Jump ball. And it's Manitoba's ball if that's a jump ball. And it should be Toronto ball. It is. They hadn't changed the possession arrow, so it is Toronto basketball. 20 seconds left. And now the foul goes against Marjorie Kelly as she knocks her opposite number Liz Hart down. Confusion reigned here for a moment as Toronto celebrated, but Manitoba took a look at the possession arrow and thought it had hit the ball.
Well, that's one of those things with the, the rules now where we have no jump balls. Once the first jump ball takes place at the start of the game, you just go by the luck of the draw.
Talk about clutch free throw shooting now. Liz Hart, 79%, the best among all the varsity blue players. Oof.
Well, this is,
sorry about that. I jinxed her.
This is tight times right now.
Well, Manitoba's got lots of time to bring it down the floor here. At best, the lead could be 2. She misses them both. Ellison, the rebound, misses. They fight again underneath, and Marjorie Kelly trying to come away with it. Neufeld does. It's tipped by a Toronto player on the way out, and the foul will go against Rachel Damois.
Oh, both teams just so desperate.
That's a huge foul because it sends Manitoba to the line with a chance to take the lead.
Oh, both teams on the floor.
What a huge foul that is. It sends Vicky Neufeld to the line to shoot 2. Neufeld 68% to the line, and we've got another timeout called. 11.5 seconds to go. Not only did Manitoba come away with the ball, but the Bisons were able to draw the foul. And now, with Neufeld at the line, if she can make them both, the Bisons will lead.
Yes, we'll really see now whether the Bisons have settled down at the foul line. This is huge, obviously very important foul shot.
G the Deaver. Hey, G the Deaver. No foul. Make them go that way to get the ball. Make them go that way to get the ball.
Come on, ladies. Right, come on, ladies. Pick it up, huh? Let's go.
Okay. Let's take the person who's on the player out of bounds behind. Okay, behind. Right? Okay. We make these shots, we're in slam. Okay? If we don't make these shots, okay, we got to stop the clock. But I go first. Okay? Be confident in your will. Who's got it? You got 8. You take 8. You take first. Okay, you got 10.
Right, Colleen Dufresne sets a strategy for Manitoba Bison. We talked to her about it at halftime. Free throw shooting would be so important for her team. Vicky Neufeld will go to the line here, but her team has not shot well from the line. 2 of 12 in the first half, and overall, her team is just 33%, 7 of 21. She makes these both, the team lead. It's time. now for the lead. Missed it. Toronto quickly with a chance to win the CIAU Women's Basketball Championship. Here's Liz Hart. Time winding down. They got to hurry. Ellison, quadruple team goes up. No basket. No basket. Tie game. We're going to overtime. Wow.
Woo.
Well, I'll tell you what, every single eye in the place was on Reg Caulfield as he walked to the scorer's table and then waved it on. We will have a 5-minute overtime period to decide this game. Let's listen to when the horn sounds. It was close, but a great call.
But it was a great call. It was definitely, the horn had gone off.
Justine Ellison was that close to giving her team a national championship.
She had a really heads-up play. She was surrounded, but then she looked around and she had an opening to the basket. Just a little bit too late.
Well, Vicki Neufeld right now is the player of the moment. She made the one to tie it. So she and Ellison are both mulling over what they think might have been.
Vicky's got to put that behind her. I can see, you can see she's visibly upset, and she's got 5 more minutes of important basketball to play.
Now, fouls carry over here. Remember, T.L. Johannesson is carrying 4 for the Manitoba Bisons. Justine Ellison has just 2.
Yeah, this is an important time, a very important situation now for the Bisons. Will the fouls take their toll in the overtime, or can, TL, as you say, is carrying 4 fouls, and she's got to play another 5 minutes.
Don't forget, later tonight we've got the CIAU Men's Hockey Championship from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto as March, the month of champions, continues here on TSN and rolls on next week with the CIAU Men's Basketball Championship from Halifax.
This is the month for basketball fans.
Yes, it is, isn't it? I think that was the Toronto huddle where we heard them say, trying to draw the foul, perhaps pointing out the fact that T.L. Johannesson is carrying 4.
Yeah, that's Toronto knows Manitoba's in some serious foul trouble. They're going to try and go inside.
So we'll play 5-minute overtime half, so we have a winner. And the possession arrow points toward Manitoba. Ellison and Neufeld for the tip. And it's Toronto ball to start this overtime period.
Still in their 2-3 zone, Manitoba.
Liz Hart down to the corner for Laurel Johnson. Ellison off the glass, and it goes.
What a great move.
Justine Ellison has been absolutely astounding. She now has 34. And T.L. Johannesson hasn't been half bad either for the Manitoba Bison. She's got 26. Marjorie Kelly in and out. And a quick catch for the Varsity Blues. A nerve-wracking time for players from both teams.
Oh, and they're tired. They played 3 games, already.
Ellison underneath makes. Great players in big games.
Exactly. That's what you always hope. Coaches always hope your big players come to play in the big ones.
We talked about Johannesson and Ellison off the top of the show, and they've dominated. Neufeld puts it up. It won't go. Toronto was hoping it was a travel. Instead, it's a foul. Laurel Johnson, that is her 3rd.
Well, last 2 times down, Toronto's been able to get the ball back inside, like early in the game. And Manitoba's got to really tighten that up.
Vicky Neufeld having a tough time with the free throw. And that's been a problem for her team. Neufeld makes the second. Toronto's lead is 3. Liz Hart brings it up the floor quickly for Rachel Deamois.
Ooh, they just barely got the ball over in time.
Yeah, just in time. Laurel Johnson with it. Oh, great pass underneath for